The spiritual path has a huge, intense period of initiation where it is about disidentifying with your egoic conditioning. And that can literally throw someone into almost like an initiated form of insanity, which you could call the dark night of the soul, because there's this understanding in a lot of spiritual cultures that most people grow up in a normal society, and that society has its function. It's not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but we're conditioned from the moment we're born to be something. And that something is generally not coming from an inner revelation. It's coming from all these things projecting them onto themselves as education, the conditioning of our parental units, and even you could venture our ancestral karmas. But in spirituality, there's this kind of movement where you should be stripping away, and a good guru or a good teacher will be guiding you into this like very radical, and it can be a quite vulnerable period of confronting your beliefs, denuding your psychology, to really figure out, well, what does it really mean to be a human being? What does it mean to have a soul? These things are great mysteries, and we walk around as if we're in the secure world. But, and that's why when some people do psychedelics, especially people who have had not much awakenings in their life, can be quite harrowing at first, because they're all of a sudden like, oh my God, like this whole story of existence and stuff just like falls away. And I realize I haven't come up with any of this on my own. And I'm on like very shaky ground in that sense. But then there's this process of building it back up, and that's about like really trying to figure truth out for yourself, which is this what the ancients called gnosis, the path of self-realization, they call it in yoga. And I do feel in our modern age that this is huge point of what we call sovereignty. I think most people are waking up to the fact now that we are ruled by this authority of whether we want to call them elite politicians, or if you want to step further and say this globalist kind of regime of that's like really founded on very secretive societies. They're making, you look at the World Economic Forum, they're making these grand decisions for us, and people are just like, yes, okay, for sure, and they're just nodding and going along in this consensual sort of agreement to just give their freedom of choice over to this big body, because a lot of them were in a lot of fear because of the pandemic. But then there's a huge part of humanity right now who's saying, like that path is not good. It's not wholesome. It's not healthy. So the other path I'm going to choose is a lot more even scary in a sense. But there's a solidarity because a lot of people are starting to walk that path together. And that path is, why don't we create something new? Why don't we be pioneers? Why don't we hook into that Aquarian age idea, which is about pioneering something new? And by doing so, it's going to require us to now be the story makers, the myth makers. It's up to us to erect this new story of our humanity, which is, to me, incredibly exciting when you enroll people in it in the right way, and it's a constructive path, and there's a real beautiful mature community that's surrounding these ideas and working together in interdependence. Then there's amazing potentials.